When it comes to gacha games across all genres and all tribes, there lies one question that can actually never be fully solved or answered, and that is who to pull. Especially with ZZ coming out with one new character in Sigrid, maintaining the Void Hunter banner with Remiel to allow her to last the entire patch, and a whole new 3 banners with Dylan, Jshoea, and Haramasa, alongside news already coming out with Claret and Roxy. This seems like a 7-way trolley problem where if you choose wrong, you explode into micro-sized particles to where your remains will be forever lost into the ether. And I thought to make this video not only just addressing our specific concerns about what to pull for now, but to go through my personal philosophies on how to choose who to pull for and evaluate characters. Essentially, I'm Master Shifu, and we're developing your spidey sense to gacha games. And boy, let me tell you, I tried to tread very lightly when it came to writing the script, as I understand this might be somewhat of a sensitive topic for some of you guys. Yeah, if you do resonate with some of the items that we go through in this video and find it helpful, make sure to leave a big ol' like. I haven't really introduced like goals on this channel. Why don't we start with 1,000 likes on this one, huh? To preface, I must say I do have every single character in Zenless to this date. And yes, I did pull for Remiel with around 650 pulls by going on the most generational run ever. Oh my god, what a roller coaster, bro.
Hello, I'm Tsukishiro Yanagi.
You know what?
Of Section 6.
An early 20 Yanagi, I can't complain. Who knows? Maybe we can get a double. Oh my god. Another early 20. Hold up, let's get another Remiel here.
Another round.
But that's besides the point. Josh, why should I take advice from you when you're just the type to just wail to get whatever you want? Well, you aren't wrong there, but I used to be in positions before where I didn't even have any funds to be able to top up or even get a monthly pass. And that wasn't just but a few years ago. Now I'm in such a privileged position thanks to you guys where I'm able to fund my own account pretty frequently. Yet I've still retained all of my philosophies when it comes to how I evaluate characters for my account. As well, currently, I'm not spending in 2 to 3 of the 6 gacha games that I play, that being HSR, Wuwa, and I did top up on Enfield at the start of the game, but I haven't since. The reason I lay all of this out is to show you that I'm actively still applying a bunch of these practices in a bunch of different gacha mediums. I'm not just a coach, but I'm a baller too. And to great effect, might I add, as even though I have not caught up with every single game that I'm playing, I still can actually go into the account and clear a baseline endgame content, which hopefully in this video I can assume is going to be our general goal here as we circle back to Zenless. Because if you're just gonna argue with me in the comments about that you're just gonna pull for whatever you want and there's no convincing you, then why'd you click on this video? This video isn't for you. I'm not just gonna whip out some Higurama level of intellect and change the course and action and outlook of life for you. At the end of the day, there isn't some magic pill or solution to make everything in the game work. So Josh, pray tell, how are we going to decide around the supposed 10 banners if you include the W engines of each character present in the second phase of 3.1? And as mentioned before, with a new class emerging, should we just forego the banners here and save for the new content? Well, let's start to detail everything with my 3 main philosophies, the first of which having to deal with waifus. It's summertime, folks, and our favorite gacha games are coming out with heater after heater. And if you need to get those characters like I do, well, you gotta join us and top up with Aniba. Aniba is one of the few Hoyo approved and Jshoea approved top up sites that firstly is safe and is easy to use. All we have to do is put in our UID region, select your package, and with multiple payment methods, they make the swiping too easy. And the savings are pretty great too, as you can get up to 60% cash back. Just make sure to check your Aniba wallet for said cash back, and that'll be able to go towards more purchases, because Lord knows we need those extra gems and monthly passes to secure them all. So make sure to sign up to Aniba down below and join myself and the rest of the community. And thanks to Aniba for supporting the channel. In my days of covering gacha, I've seen various types of accounts as I've been doing account and VOD reviews on my channel, helping you guys out with builds and even with basic combat breakdowns of your runs. If you would like to actually get in on some of that, make sure that you guys stay tapped in with our lives over on Twitch and YouTube. But one conversation that sprouts up now and then, like we're at Sunday service and reciting John 3:16 again for the 5th sermon in a row, Pastor John, is the waifu over meta mantra. One that resounds along the halls of Gamba Games, from the Jane Does and Remiels to Acherons, Fireflies, Camellias, and Farinas alike. Guys, you should just grab your husbandos and waifus and you're gonna be all set. Funny enough, I actually recently had an encounter on stream with a chatter trying to get some suggestions on their account who brought this mantra to the extreme. Today's my 5th day playing Zenless. I have to know what I should be doing when I need the teams I've been running is Lucia, Nekomata, and A-Rank Ambi. I did get Remiel, but I don't have any anomaly characters. So should I summon for the new characters or rerun banners? Holy cannoli, bro. These technically aren't bad units, but Lucia is a rupture support, Remiel is an anomaly character, and Nekomata is an attacker. I should say classic attacker. None of these characters synergize at all. Remiel's still a good pick, but is she a good pick even in the context of this? Or even Jane variant. Lucia was their free pick. They can't get Jane. Oh, I guess if you spend, technically. The Lucia was the free pick. So they have no access to anomalies unless they pull an Arya. Jshoea can't cover it, even though Jshoea's a support for anomaly teams. You're able to come back from this. This is a short-term solution to your situation of the S ranks. Why not trigger? Oh, right there. Ah, yes. There it is. What a start, though. What an interesting start. Lucia, free character, Remiel, Nekomata. Wow. What a start, bro. This is taking the waifu over meta to the extreme, right? Because Lucia, definitely a waifu. Remiel, she's my wife. And, well, Nekomata, you probably lost a 50-50. And it's going to be a lot more work, like a lot more work. There's a lot easier lines that we could have taken there, right? If we just keep pulling all willy-nilly, our progress is gonna go to a halt. Now, before I rustle any more feathers, I can hear some of you boiling, because no one in their right mind would only choose those characters on purpose to land themselves in that situation. Well, surprise, surprise, a bunch of players actually end up doing so, and especially in patches when we even have less resources to come around. As you might know, as the time of this recording, it is the 3.1 anniversary patch, which does have S ranks aplenty. Yet it's also easy to say, Josh, the answer is simple. Just grab your waifu and then build around them. Duh. And you, my friend, are almost right. I'll give you an A- for that answer. You're right in the sense that any frontlining or DPS character can be built around to cover any content they're predisposed for. Yet again, you aren't always going to be in a position where, let's say you pick up a Remiel and you're going to have a Jane Doe accessible for free, Grace and Piper on standard, Bernice in the shop, Vivian in the spending event, Arya's in the shop, Yanagi's on the 50-50. AKA, you're not always going to be in a position to grab units who are going to be able to supplement towards your designated character. What we should actually be trying to do is employing a slightly more longer term strategy. Alongside the waifus is establishing a strong foundation. For Zenless, that's pushing our accounts to cover the different offensive niches of attack, rupture, anomaly, and now the incoming armor classes. And yes, 3 different classes might already sound daunting for new players, and the unfortunate reality is that it is. Zenless is a game that moves quite fast with its content and the rotation of focuses of those respective classes. Currently, we are crossing the apex of anomaly content and slowly opening up the door to the new armor class, alongside bringing back some rupture into the fold. Having a starter account that covers at least 1 or 2 of the classes, with other veteran and more endgame accounts being able to cover all of the classes, as well as have supplementary characters to correspond with said units, is going to be crucial if you guys want to be able to compete towards endgame content. So for this example of the banner in particular, grabbing a Jshoea and or Dylan might not be the most helpful for your beautiful Remiel Void Hunter team, but it's going to help round out the account with a strong core member for your secondary anomaly and attacker to rupture teams respective. These two characters are not the sole options that you have, but are great examples of pillars that you guys can use to establish your foundation. And again, all this depending on the amount of resources and direction that you want to go towards. Again, I'm not saying that you have to grab both. I'm just saying that at least grabbing one of these units is going to be extremely helpful for the health of your account. Here's a small list of character archetypes I'd like to share, and you can see a few of these characters are very similar in roles, yet have synergy and or best in slots for specific class types. Choose one or two of which use to build for, and trust that these units already have proven track records with relatively strong performance metrics going into the upcoming year to date. It's like having a go-to outfit, your DPS being your shirt, your pants and shoes being your stunner and supporter class characters, and then for anomaly, well, anomaly kind of like mixes and intermingles pretty seamlessly across the board, so I don't know what article of clothing that would be. I don't really have an analogy for that. Then let's put that into the context of upcoming banners with Claret and Roxy. We can very easily see Roxy, as she is a stunner, taking the job of Dylan. And if we suspect that Roxy is going to have synergy with at least some of the current day characters and Claret, then skipping Dylan should be okay with you to then go for the two Flint workshoppers. So for this example, we're using the outlook from our future forward drip marketing to layer on our decisions. In summation, pulling for your favorite units and or waifus can only take you as far because the game does require you to build around a team and thus also create multiple teams that cover different classes. This is the game wanting you to try out different methods of combat, yet the turnover of some of these class focuses is actually quite fast. It's better to be prepared with these units that can help anchor your teams and help create a core or strong foundation. But moving on to philosophy number 2, as Claret is going to be the main focus subject of this next topic, and that is to just grab the new character. Now this aspect is one of the weaker philosophies that I have, but one I've been wanting to weigh this theory against, and that is with the new character Claret, who is coming to the foray with a new class type armor. And sometimes, well, many times, it's okay to be Andy and want a new toy or new waifu. As veterans know, there have been 2 other instances where Zenless has introduced a new class or element to the fold. And of course, I'm not talking about the baseline classes and or elements that were introduced in 1.0, nor are we going to be referencing any of the subclasses or sub-elements that are the likes of your Void Hunters, like with Frost or Honed Edge. We're only talking of baseline established classes and elements here. So let's go down memory lane to the very first actual class that newly was established back in Season 2, and that is going to be with Rupture, who introduced to us the most convenient story character of Season 2, that being the Void Hunter leveled investigator, Jshoea. Her abilities as a Rupture character were flexible and potent, and pretty much to this day, if enemy has been content called, she could answer in a heartbeat to either at least 3-star or with some extra vertical investment, shred the competition. As far as the lifespan of a character's relevance when it comes to Zenless Sub-Zero, Jshoea has had a pretty good track record. Then now let's scooch over here to Season 3 with our 2 more modern characters. And of course, we have to reference the starter unit of Season 3, that being Valina Airgid. She's been an absolute powerhouse, and many folks who were quote-unquote saving for Remiel found themselves in a precarious situation where they skipped Valina in hopes of just landing Remiel. Well, recall with tip 1 here, grabbing a character also requires a little bit of extra layered ball knowledge with drip marketing. And the writing was on the wall that these 2 were just going to be peas in a pod. Yeah, outside of Remiel, who in her defense does not need Valina and can actually work with a bunch of other anomaly combinations, Valina drives a bunch of anomaly and provides extra bonuses that are aligned with her element. In particular with the contamination factor allowing you to buff not only wind, but also the corresponding element that you swirl with. And with Roxy being a wind stunner, I'm very curious to see how Roxy is going to apply a bunch of these bonuses towards a more conventional stunner playstyle. But if I may be so forward-thinking, Valina is going to have a very strong resilience as one of the better sub-DPS anomaly appliers in the game, as she stands above Vivian and Bernice with a strong demand alongside other on-field anomaly characters, or a term that I brought in from Genshin, drivers. As Zenless has proven with their statistics towards providing players with more of these anomaly driver agents rather than sub DPS or more passive units, it's safe to say that Valina has a strong place in anomaly content for some time to come. And just for the sake of the argument, I know Lumiflux technically is a new element with its own farmable chips and whatnot, but I'm still going to consider a subclass Void Hunter of the likes of Shungus and Yavi. And with that, let's actually introduce our new armor type class unit, starting with Claret. Now, there is no shortage of changing beta information when it comes to our new unit, and only until the early access are we actually going to establish what the character actually does and who she actually is going to be. So make sure you guys stay subscribed, so when we come out with the Claret early access, you guys are going to be the first to see it. But with Claret, we are going to be testing out this thesis of new characters actually being insanely strong value for the respective new introductory class. Because to Zenless's credit, for the units that they've introduced corresponding with said new introductory elements and or classes, they've given them really strong shelf lives. So if it's a situation of you not necessarily being too invested into our new Uma Musume and are looking for what other DPS units to look out for, my polys would always generally be going towards the newer unit. And this line of reasoning will actually follow you not only for now, but throughout your gacha stay, as you need to consider if the newer units are actually bringing something different to your account, aka horizontal investing. The earlier that you invest into these new archetypes of characters, the earlier you're going to be able to clear said content. Especially with the class of a Yishen, the more armor-oriented content you're going to be able to cover with Claret or any near future anomaly units coming to the fold. It may not have to directly be Claret, but picking one up sooner than later is going to help you establish that anchor for the team, allowing you to get more comfortable pacing with the speed of what ZZ's content provides. And now let's get on to the last piece of advice, which actually doesn't necessarily have to do with pulling, which might raise some eyebrows. That's right, folks. The next layer of our very extensive checklist is how you guys are going to be balling on a budget. These units will consist of A ranks, standards, free units, and shop units, especially if they were to, say, update the shop again come around the half anniversary this upcoming December. Wink wink. This is now where we come around to the alternative units who can really help to round out accounts even without the best of boxes. In fact, these units are probably more valuable to you than you think, because they actually allow you to save the polychromes that you would have gone for other characters to then say go for characters that you actually like. Now, this doesn't just apply to the units here on this list, but I am going to be talking about a few applicable examples here just within the context of our 3.1 to 3.2 situation here, starting with Lycon. Mr. Do-It-All has been a staple stunner for many units in the past, as well as even pivoting into a role as an anomaly stunner way back before we had Non-Gong Yu. That's right, folks, your unc's favorite team comp of Mono Ice used to run content with how strong pacing and buffs you get from Lycon and Sakaku paired with an already dominant Melon Void Hunter. But outside of that, Lycon has actually found himself molding to a multitude of teams, from Hugo Vlad Double Stunner to comps like Idhari Rupture Carry. Lycon has almost seen all the different phases of Zenless, and now here in the big Season 3, we clearly see a very synergistic line, with being the primary budget stunner for one Sigrid. So if you were juggling with, say, Roxy and or Dylan, both of whom have much greater performances than your Wolf Butler, but in all honesty, not by that much of an amount that would prevent you from 3-star DA, why not stick with the Lycon and then just grab Roxy down the line? Or alternatively, there have been conversations about Kaleda getting a rework that would flip the actual script entirely for you to actually grab Dylan first and then use Kaleda for said Claret team. With the example above, we are leveraging our our standard choices to be able to provide us with more optionality. And with Zenless continuously looking at its previous Season 1 characters, especially the ones who were coming from a different era of the game, to then grant them potentials to be in more line with stats and other passive abilities, this thus allowing them to be more comparable to become substitutes for characters and then thus be able to go for others in the meantime. Then just one more example, Remiel. With her being such a needy anomaly and folks mayhaps not wanting to go all in for a premium anomaly unit after premium anomaly unit, why not take a look at the more accessible Graces and Pipers who are very much relevant here in Season 3. Then you can always take a look at the sub-anomaly class, whom if you are able to spend a little bit of dough, you have your Vivian and Bernices available to you, alongside the free or shop Janes for higher vertical investments. And boom, we don't need to put all of our eggs into the anomaly basket. This opening your options to invest into, let's say, attack if you weren't too keen on Pyros, Rupture, who is slowly coming back to the fold. Finding optionality in the budgets to this slightly more extreme level can open up even more doors for your account to horizontally and even vertically invest in other places, which, going back to tip 1, with getting a nice core collection of units. And I know I said 3 tips, but I actually have one more extra one to leave you on the road with. And that is to go for new characters over W engines and Mindscapes. Most folks in this day and age will say that you need to go for signatures, M1s and 2s to be able to compete in endgame. And if that's your goal with those specific units, then of course go right ahead. But a prevailing philosophy that I've always gone with is that the experience of getting a character, being able to build them and use them has just been more enriching than going for other vertical investments of current units that I already have. And of course, the one factor that trumps it all is, do you even just like the character? Just because they're a flagship Void Hunter, Archon, or whatever, doesn't mean that they are for everyone, nor should they be. Even though Remiel is an ASMR, Goth, Angel, Boba Guzzling, gamer hybrid, who would be almost everyone's dream girl, doesn't mean you actually have to pull for them in the grander scheme of things. The resources are there for you to be able to build an amazing account with just a little bit of time. Unfortunately, no instant gratification here. But in my experience, Zenless has been one of the more kinder gacha games in the major leagues, with your Genshins and Wuwas strictly in pull counts. And with this pull power allows you to go for a variety of different things, pull for who you like, try something new, and round out the gacha game experience that allows you to try different playstyles. So hopefully these 3 major philosophies are helpful for you. Hey folks, thanks so much for watching. This is a new video style for me and us going through a topic that I know is somewhat sensitive to some of y'all. If you stuck around for this long, I think some of these suggestions might have resonated with you guys. And if so, I think this video deserves a big ol' thumbs up. With that being said, I hope this video helps to prepare you for the onslaught of banners that are upcoming and future banners to come. My name is Josh, and why not go check out some of our other guide videos that help detail a bit of these characters a little bit more. But until then, yeah, make sure to click on one of these videos because YouTube thinks you like it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.